You know that little voice? The one that whispers, what if? We all have it, I think.
Oh, definitely. That road not taken feeling.
Yeah, the career you almost chose, or maybe that city you dreamed about living in. It's this sense of a different you, maybe. A quiet kind of ache.
It is, and it's deeply human, isn't it? This capacity to imagine other ways things could be. The YouTube creator Queen really dug into that.
Right, the source we're diving into today.
Yeah, and she makes this great point. It's not like grieving someone you lost out there. It's more personal. Mourning a part of yourself, often silently.
Exactly. And that's what we're getting into today, this specific kind of grief for the unlived life, using Queen's video as our guide.
Our mission, if you like.
Yeah, to understand it better, figure out maybe why it happens and, well, how we navigate it. It's not about wallowing in regret, right?
Not at all. It's about understanding a really common human thing.
What Queen points out, too, is how often we just sort of push it down.
Yeah, right. We call it being realistic or, mature. Convince ourselves that those other paths weren't really options.
But that potential self, Queen says it kind of keeps flickering inside us.
It does. And it shows up in some, pretty weird ways sometimes.
Yeah, Queen lists a whole bunch, doesn't she? Like, always putting things off, procrastination.
Or overthinking everything, getting stuck. Mm-hmm. Even that sort of bitterness you sometimes feel, or anxiety that doesn't seem to have a source.
Right. Or just feeling tired all the time, no matter how much you sleep.
Muted enthusiasm, yeah, with the volumes turned down. Queen also mentions feeling empty even when you hit a milestone.
Or being cynical about other people chasing their dreams and all those half-finished projects.
Abandoned hobbies, books you meant to read, equipment gathering dust. Each one, Queen says, is like a little monument to a self you didn't quite lean into.
She puts it so well. It's the soul trying to speak in a life that feels somehow off-key.
Yeah, that sense that something vital is just on pause.
And it connects to that bigger idea, the architecture of regret. And that line, gosh, it always gets, for of all sad words of tongue or pen, the saddest are it might.
That really nails it, doesn't it? Makes you think of Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken.
Totally. We always focus on the road we did take.
But Queen pushes us to think about the other one. Does it just vanish? Or does it run alongside like a ghostly mirror, reflecting what could have been?
It's a wild thought, isn't it? That maybe some other version of us is living that life.
Queen really taps into something fundamental to us, our human ability to imagine these other possibilities. It's amazing, but maybe a burden too.
How so?
Well, like living multiple lives all at once, just inside your own head.
Ah, right. And that Lucian Freud quote Queen uses about everything being autobiographical, even a chair.
Yeah, applying it here. These imagined lives, these phantom selves, they're like self-portraits of what we yearn for.
Queen even mentions the multiverse idea from physics. Not literally, but as a metaphor.
Right, a metaphor for how real these parallel lives can feel in our minds. They carry weight.
It's not just idle daydreaming then. And Queen brings in philosophy too, right? Kierkegaard and the dizziness of freedom.
Yeah, and Kierkegaard's anxiety of possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Basically the overwhelm of having so many choices.
Because every choice means not choosing something else.
Exactly. Queen says, we are defined as much by what we do not become as by what we do, which kind of reframes regret, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not just wishing you'd done X or Y.
It's like Queen says, your mind mourning a parallel reality, a road you remember, even if you never walked it.
Wow. So, okay, our brains are actually built for this what-if stuff. Queen gets into the psychology counterfactual.
Right. It's just how our minds work, generating alternatives like mental time travel, thinking about forks in the road.
And that research, Susan Zagerstrom, finding that these imagined things feel real emotionally.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Our brains process these hypotheticals using similar pathways to actual memories. The emotional centers light up.
So the brain doesn't just dismiss them as fantasy.
It seems not. They have a real impact, almost like a memory trace.
Which explains why that pang of what if can feel so sharp. And Daniel Kahneman's work, Queen mentioned that too.
His finding that we often regret things we didn't do more intensely than things we did that failed.
Why is that?
Well, Queen explains it like this. Failed actions usually have an out. You learn something. Maybe you process it.
Okay.
But the things you didn't do, they stay as pure potential. They can become idealized.
Ah, right. The unclaimed life becomes this perfect fantasy we compare our real life against.
Exactly. That career would have been amazing. That relationship perfect. These flawless ideals that haunt us a bit.
And this isn't just a personal thing. Queen points out other cultures actually have words for this.
Yeah, like saudade in Portuguese, that deep yearning for something absent.
Or the German Sehnsucht, intense longing for something else, an alternative.
It shows how universal this is, doesn't it? It's baked into the human condition.
And that Finnish one, Kakukaipu, longing for faraway places you've never...
Yeah, it broadens it out. It's not just about choices, but maybe a fundamental desire for more something
Yeah.
beyond the everyday.
Then there's the Japanese kuchisabishi loneliness of the mouth.
Queen interprets that so beautifully, not just wanting to say something and can't, but having the words, the potential, and just not speaking them. Unexpressed parts of ourselves.
So many layers to this feeling, and literature obviously is full of it. Queen quotes Henry James from The Ambassadors.
Oh, the Lambert Strother quote, "Live all you can. It's a mistake not to."
Yes, it doesn't so much matter what you do in particular, so long as you have your life. If you haven't had that, what have you had?
It really cuts deep, that one. It's about fully showing up for your own existence.
And Queen links this to why we might feel off, even with success. Maybe we achieved something, but it wasn't really us.
It's like those responsible choices we made early on can sometimes, without us realizing, close doors to parts of ourselves, leaving that what if lingering.
Queen calls it an invisible epidemic. We're told, just be grateful.
Right, that sort of toxic positivity. But gratitude can sometimes mask this real inner longing.
Queen mentions Johann Hari's lost connections, too.
Yeah, the idea that disconnection from meaningful work, values, relationships, ourselves, fuels depression and anxiety.
So the big question Queen raises is, could this unprocessed grief for our unlived selves be part of that collective malaise?
It's a really powerful question. Think about Viktor Frankl's existential vacuum, feeling empty despite having stuff. Maybe finding meaning also means reckoning with the paths we didn't take.
And Rollo May's cry of absence, that vague feeling something's missed, fits perfectly, doesn't it?
It does. And if you look at positive psychology like Csikszentmihalyi's flow.
Right, getting lost in something you love.
Exactly. Queen points out that when we abandon core parts of ourselves, the musician who stops playing, the writer who stops writing, we lose access to those vital flow states.
It can even affect us physically. Queen brings in Gabor Mate's work.
The idea that emotional repression, denying these parts of ourselves, can manifest in the body. The body carries the burden.
Which leads us right to those Mary Oliver questions Queen shares. They're so direct.
Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
And then the kicker.
Tell me, what were you going to do before you convinced yourself otherwise?
Oof. Yeah, they really make you stop and think, don't they?
Not to pile on regret, but to encourage that honest look inside, to maybe recognize those passions we sidelined.
Queen then gives some really concrete examples, makes it less abstract.
Yeah, like Thomas, the account with the secret love for medieval literature.
Successful on the outside, but inside. Yearning for Chaucer. He got into that PhD program, right?
He did. Loved it.
Yeah.
But, practical concerns, family pressure, the temporary detour became permanent.
And he reads and translates late at night, alone, just to touch that part of himself. Queen calls it a quiet tragedy of the everyday.
It really is. He had stability, but maybe lost something that truly lit him up. It's like Martha Nussbaum's idea of tragic choices. You always lose something valuable.
Then Maria, the hospital administrator, vital work, helping.
But her real passion is ballet, practicing secretly. She had that offer from the big academy, didn't she?
Yeah, but her mom got sick. MS had to make the practical choice.
And now she watches dance online and gets this flash, seeing another version of herself. Queen mentions Oliver Sacks' phantom limb.
Like a phantom self. Yeah, that feels right. A part of you that's neurologically, emotionally real, even if it never fully played out.
Makes you think of James Hillman's acorn theory, that innate calling inside us always trying to grow, even if buried.
And James, the almost adventurer, super organized vacations.
But dreaming of the Himalayas, sailing solo, he actually sold his stuff, bought a ticket to Bangkok once.
Wow, really? What happened?
Father had a stroke. Life changed course instantly. Became the responsible family guy instead of the wanderer.
But still daydreams about those languages he never...
And Queen makes a key point here. You can grieve that unlived life and still love the life you have. They're not mutually exclusive. It's complex.
Okay, so let's shift to the science behind this. The neurology Queen talks about fMRI scans.
Yeah, showing that our brains process these what-ifs, these counterfactuals, almost like real memories. Same areas light up.
So Dr. Gabrielle Morrison's quote Queen used, the brain doesn't neatly distinguish between what happened and what might have happened.
Pretty much. These potentials aren't just floaty ideas, they leave a neural trace.
And the default mode network, the DMN, our brain's daydreaming network.
Right. Queen highlights it's active when we mull over paths not taken. It suggests these unlived lives are a big part of our inner world, tied to our sense of self, even empathy.
And we actively construct these alternatives in our minds, right? Thinking about them strengthens those pathways.
And Antonio Damasio's work on the embodied mind, thinking about them, can trigger actual physical response.
Queen even mentions epigenetics, how ongoing thoughts like ruminating might subtly affect gene expression.
It's an emerging idea, yeah. And David Eagleman's view reality is a brain construct. So these unlived lives have their own kind of subjective reality.
It keeps coming back to Proust, doesn't it? The only true paradise is paradise lost. Our brains seem wired to hold on to those lost potentials.
Queen then brings up identity foreclosure. Sounds kind of clinical.
Yeah. It basically means settling on an identity too early without really exploring other options, often because of outside pressure.
James Marcia's identity statuses framework helps here. Foreclosure is committing without exploring.
Like the kid who loves writing but gets pushed into science by parents and just forecloses on being a writer.
And David Elkin noted how modern pressures squeeze that exploration phase for young people. You have to choose sooner.
Leading to what James Marcia called a psychological mortgage, a kind of lifelong, low-level dissatisfaction.
Could be. And maybe the midlife crisis is sometimes a delayed reaction to that, trying to finally explore those closed-off parts.
Especially if your self-worth gets too tied up in meeting external expectations, as Jennifer Crocker's research suggests. That creates a split, right? Between who you are and who you think.
Which leads perfectly into Carl Jung and the shadow.
Right, the parts of ourselves we disown or repress, including those unlived lives.
Jung believed wholeness comes from integration, acknowledging all of it, not just the parts we like or the parts that succeeded.
And importantly, Queen notes this integration doesn't always mean blowing up your current life.
No, often it's more internal, just acknowledging that other part, ending the inner fight.
Then Queen zooms out to the cultural picture, the American dream idea.
Yeah, the myth of limitless possibility. It can make unlived dreams feel like personal failures, paradoxically.
And toxic positivity plus social media comparison. They push us away from even admitting we feel this grief.
Plus, Barry Schwartz's paradox of choice, having too many options, actually makes regret more likely.
And social media is like a constant parade of roads not taken, isn't it? Queen calls it a museum of alternative lives.
That's such a good description. It makes the what-ifs feel so vivid, so constant.
Like Marshall McLuhan said, we shape our tools, and thereafter our tools shape us. Social media is definitely shaping how we feel about our own choices.
But Queen doesn't leave us there, thankfully. She talks about reconciliation.
And the first step is just acknowledgement, naming the loss without judging yourself.
Yeah, just admitting, even just to yourself, part of me wanted to be a writer, or I do wonder about moving to London.
Irvin Yalom said something similar, right? That facing these unlived parts is key to wholeness. It's truth-telling.
Then, after acknowledging, Queen suggests exploring the thread. What was the core thing attracting you to that path?
So not necessarily I should have been a photographer, but maybe I crave more presence or I need creative expression.
Exactly. Or wanting autonomy, not necessarily wanting to run a huge business. Then figuring out how to weave that quality back into your current life.
So it's integration, not necessarily abandonment of your current life.
Right. The lost self isn't gone. It's just waiting for you to acknowledge it, invite it back in somehow. And Queen stresses it's never too late to start differently. Small steps.
Like the example she gave, the exec painting on Sundays, the parent taking that pottery class.
The retiree going to law school just for fun. It's about honoring that inner calling, like Parker Palmer talks about, where your gladness meets the world's need. You can often find ways within your existing life.
And Queen talks about this amazing potential transformation, turning the grief itself into creative fuel.
Yeah, look at the late bloomers. Grandma Moses starting painting seriously at 78.
Frank McCourt publishing Angela's Ashes at 66. Were they failures before that?
Or just gathering wisdom. Experience that fed their later work. It's a different perspective.
Queen uses the kintsugi metaphor too, the Japanese art of repairing pottery with gold.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Our breaks, our unlived paths, they don't have to be hidden flaws. They can become part of our beauty, our history, highlighted in gold.
And maybe the most freeing idea Queen offers is that all lives are incomplete. It's just part of being human.
Nobody does it all. Yeah. Nobody lives out every single potential. It's not failure. It's just reality. Like Rilke said, love the questions themselves.
Carl Jung's afternoon of life idea fits here, too.
Yeah, morning is about building the external stuff. Career, family. Afternoon is about meaning, authenticity, integration, reconciling with those unlived bits.
It's a shift inward. Small, consistent choices towards what feels true.
Because, as Queen concludes, that grief, that ache for the unlived life, it might actually point the way to a more honest, maybe even more beautiful life going forward. The one you were truly meant to live, in a way.
It's like thinking of our lives as an unfinished symphony. Beautiful opening movements, maybe, but then a pause.
Yeah, and you feel sad for the music that didn't get played. But the pause is also an invitation.
To see those unlived paths, not just as regrets, but as Queen puts it, openings into possibility.
We can't change the past, obviously. But we can, as she says, take up the pen today and continue composing.
And genuine possibilities are always there, right? Even small ones. Writing one page, taking one class.
Having that conversation you've been avoiding, setting a boundary, just acknowledging the grief itself.
So back to Mary Oliver's big question. What is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? The answer isn't out there somewhere.
No, it comes from listening inward, listening to the grief, the longing, figuring out what makes you feel alive, and then taking small steps.
Honor the might have been, for sure, but let it maybe fuel what still might be.
Exactly. Your unfinished symphony is waiting for that next note, your note.